Good morning. My name's Hillary, and this is Sunday Morning Live with John M. Here's our host, John M.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. We are back on our home turf, as I'm sure you can clearly see. We got back last week from Hillary and I did from our little road trip up to Santa Cruz and Lodi, and now we're back here in beautiful downtown North Hollywood. And yes, people to say hi to.
Say good morning to Eric Patelli.
Hey, Eric! Thanks for joining us, buddy.
He's at the car wash.
This gonna be a good show this morning. You made it for a good one. Eric Patelli of Music Connection magazine, of course, a big supporter of this show. Thanks for joining us, and hopefully some of the rest of you are tuning in as well. Hillary's nodding her head, and so we're glad to have you with us. I have an extra special guest with me this morning, kind of a late booking. I'm grateful to him for being able to do it. John O. Kennedy is with me this morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
John is a wonder. Not only is he a good friend, but he's also a great guitar player, multi-instrumentalist, producer, recording engineer, songwriter. He does it all, and he's going to do most of it with me here this morning. And we're going to start off with this song that I've played once or twice on this show, but I'm going to play it again. I haven't played it in a little while, and you haven't heard it like this. And it's an important song for me personally, so I'm going to play it again. I hope you like it, and then we'll get into things with my guest. This is My Country. My country, where Lady Liberty said, bring all your poor huddled masses unto me. Lately, that's not the America I see. What has become of my country? What if Abraham Lincoln came back today? Or Kennedy, Dr. King? Can you imagine the messages they would bring? They say, don't build a wall, Mr. President. Let freedom ring. Have we elected president or a king? What has become of my country? My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I listen. Then where our leader lies, shakes hands with Russian spies, breaks deals with allies, and the world is watching. What has become of my country? I can hardly believe what I see. Votes no longer matter, and the press is no longer free. An unqualified man can be president if he's been on TV. For God's sake, Madam Justice, won't you take off your blindfold and see what has become of my country? Yeah.
Beautiful.
Very nice. John O. Kennedy, J-O-K on mandolin.
Good to
How
see
you
you.
doing, buddy? Good to see you.
It's been too long.
It has been too long.
Yeah.
The last, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, because you tend to have a better memory than I do. I think the last official show we did together was my CD release concert.
Yes, that was what, a couple of years ago.
A couple years ago.
Yeah. That was a blast.
At the Fremont Theater with a full band.
Yeah,
and that
great
was
band.
Fun. Yeah,
I was really happy that you asked me to be part of it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Good night.
We rocked out.
Yeah, it was a really good group of musicians, and you nailed it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I wasn't fishing for that, but thank you.
Yeah, you did.
So, I'm just trying to remember how I met you. It seems to me I met you through somebody.
No, we met, and I remember this vividly. We met years and years ago. I was playing more often than I do now at Kulak's.
Oh yeah.
And it was like one of their mic nights, and I was playing with Whitney.
Oh right.
And you came in. I had no idea who you were. And you came in and you did a song, and it was good. And I was like, okay, because it could be shaky there. Right. And so it was good, and we got talking, and you were marketing your studio.
Yeah.
You said, you gave me a card, and you said, listen, if you ever need anything, come to my studio. And then
and I already knew Whitney, so
yeah. And after that, though, a few other people said, oh, he's got this great studio. And unfortunately, I didn't have any projects at the time, but then when I got them, I came over to your house.
Yeah.
Because I knew it was in a valley someplace, but I didn't know where.
Well, and you brought Whitney. We're referring to the late great Whitney Quinn.
Yeah.
One of the most talented songwriters I've probably ever known, and certainly one of the most talented here in L.A. And sadly, he is no longer with us. But he wrote some great stuff before he left.
And and this is a proper time, but we're hopefully by the end of the year going to release the record.
I was going to ask you about that. How that
we
was
had
coming.
some, as some people know, we had some legal issues with his wife's family.
Right. And
those seem to have calmed down and quieted down.
Good.
Yeah, there was some very obtuse behavior by her family.
Yeah.
It was
well, that happens sometimes when someone
without
dies,
going into detail for the viewers, it was unfortunately a suicide, and it was not handled well by any of the parties' relatives. And so we I've purposely laid low for a few years on this because I do not want to have to invest in a lawyer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I think it's over with.
Well, when the record comes out, a lot more people will come to realize the jewel that we lost.
Yeah.
So
another loss was your studio, which you don't have anymore, unfortunately. But
well, that was just an
amazing.
The
place
Times
to work.
took that away.
Yeah. Well,
not the newspaper.
Yeah, but it was everyone who worked there through me asks about that studio.
Yeah,
still they miss it, and I don't mean to rub it in or anything.
Yeah.
But that was a great place. It was an amazing studio.
Well, I made a couple of my own records there.
Right.
And
great engineers that you recommended.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was just amazing.
One of them has recently been a guest on the show, Richard Robinson.
Oh, Rich, yeah. Rich did a great job, yeah. And Keith
Wexler,
I saw Keith about a month ago in Pasadena. I was doing Bill Burnett's little thing, and Keith showed up. Yeah. So, and we made some great records there.
So let's fast forward. What have you been up to? What have you been doing lately?
A little bit of everything. I've been backing up some singer-songwriters. I'm working with Eric Chase, Cynthia Brando, a lot. Yeah. Both of them. And I'm now working with a guy named Marlon Hoffman, who is a kind of an old rock and roller. And he's really good. And it's kind of 60s, early 70s kind of stuff. And it's a really good band, and we're opening for Johnny Rivers the end of September at the Savon Theater, acoustically, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be our first major show. So I've been working with him, and then I'm also working with Jeb Lipson, who's a great Americana
Jeb has been a guest on this show.
Yeah. So a great singer-songwriter.
And another owner of a great studio.
Yeah.
Now that you mention it.
Another Music Connection supporter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. And so I've been doing that. I've been doing some recording sessions. I did a few things for Jeff Cossack. I work a lot with a guy, Jason Hiller, over in Beverly Hills, and I'm doing something with him tomorrow morning for an artist, Anahita Kia, who's really good. And it's fun because I get to do the stuff that other guitar players don't do. Like I'm playing lap steel, and I'm playing I'm going to play Gretsch guitar and just add colors. Like, one of the things that I love to do is work with other guitar players because it takes the pressure off me. And I can do the stuff that other people don't do. So.
I was going to ask you about that because not all, but most of the guests that I've had on this show have been front people. They front their own shows.
Right.
And even some of the, I've had a couple of bass players. I've had Chad Watson and Ted Russell Camp. Yeah, who said to say hi. I told him you were going to be on the show. He said, "Oh, say hi to him." So of course, being bass players, they're used to backing other people up, but they also both front their own shows.
Sure, yeah, and they're good shows too.
And they're both singer-songwriters. They both play guitar. And so my question is, you primarily, the lion's share of your work is either doing tracks for or backing up live other people. And you do very, very seldom are the front man yourself. You seem to be happy with that. Is there any part of you that, I wish I could be out front?
And this is something that has kind of been in my back pocket for my adult life, is I'm not a great singer. I've never worked at it. And this is maybe a little snooty, but I don't believe the world needs another hour of instrumentals. And so I've done some solo shows, and it's fun, and I like it. But I prefer backing up a good singer-songwriter. Yeah. I just feel like that's my spot.
Yeah.
Nick Kirgo, great guitar player, we're beginning to talk about doing something together.
Oh, that would be great.
That would be something that's what I'm interested in. Is I don't necessarily want the spotlight for solo stuff necessarily.
Well, I encourage you to encourage him, because Nick is he's when you force him to, he can be a good front man. Of course, he's a great side man.
Yeah.
But he doesn't think of himself as a good singer, but I think he is a pretty good one.
Right.
And he has a number of songs that I really like.
Yeah, and
so I hope that comes to fruition.
Yeah, my intention is we get together and we do some eclectic stuff that, I don't think anyone needs to hear Tequila done again.
Right.
Or any Santo and Johnny stuff. Like, I want to do some stuff that maybe we do it and halfway through the song you go, oh, that's Spanish Harlem.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So that's what I'm thinking. So but I love what I do. I'm happy, and as I mentioned to you before we went on the air, if it's a good song, my job is relatively clear.
Yeah.
Not always easy, but clear, and that allows me to say, you know what, I better not play during this part, or I should play, or whatever,
Hillary, you tried to get my attention a minute ago. Have you forgotten what
Reggie
it was?
Harris is watching.
Oh, Reggie, good morning, buddy.
Hi.
Good morning.
And
do you know
Reggie was on our show in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful spot by a lake. Unfortunately, we lost the signal for Facebook at the finale, but it was really a fun morning. Good morning, Reggie, and love to see you.
Good to see you, my friend. You're a wonderful songwriter.
And also my cousin Bruce. Bruce, hi.
Cousin Bruce. Cousin Brucey. Let's play another song.
Yeah. What do you want to do?
Let's show people how good you are at backing other people up. Let's do. Let's do Part of the Game.
Okay. Let's make sure we're in tune on this hot summer morning. You're a B or you're E. Your high E's a little flat. This is one of the benefits of backing up other singer-songwriters. Is I used to drive Tracy Newman crazy because I would say your B string, and she'd turn around and go, what?
It's not a bad thing. Okay, so with help on some lead guitar from J.O.K., this is a title song from an album I did a few years ago in Nashville, actually, called Part of the Game. 1, 2. 3. Hate this part. Now it all began when I first saw you, cast a glance, feel the skin. How long will it be before you pick up that phone and reel me in? Setting the pace, setting the scene, or are you setting me up for a fall? Telling myself that it's only a dream, and I'm telling myself that you'll call. Salesmen bother me most of all when I'm waiting for an important call. It's part of the game, we're playing again. Part of the game, women and men at home with a phone and a lonely heart. Part of the game, I hate this part. Timing's got to be just right. Is it love or lust or something holy? Ooh, maybe I'll find out tonight. Out of my league, out of sight, maybe, certainly not out of mind. I'll be alright, believe me, baby, when I hear your voice on the line. Very nice, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. John O'Kennedy on lead guitar. That was fun.
Lead guitar and a whole lot of love at the ending.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Always, that's one of the funnest things to do is in a song is if you know it's going to fit. It's like Secret Agent Man for like 4 bars.
Right.
A whole lot of love or something like that. You know.
Yeah.
The one that I always fall back on most of the time is Gasoline Alley by Rod Stewart. You know, remember that?
Yeah.
I always put that in all the time.
Yeah.
So
say hi to Jeb Lipson.
Hey, Jeb. How are you?
Hi,
Welcome
Jeb.
back. He was on vacation.
We were just talking about you and what a great studio you have.
Yeah.
And I am going to be a guest on your second Saturday songwriter singer soiree in Sunland sometime
Soon.
Sometime soon. Yeah, thank you, Hillary. So, yeah, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
So how long have you? Was guitar the first instrument you picked up?
No, I took drum lessons for a month. And,
a whole month.
A whole month, and I was about 10, and so back then, I don't know how they do it now, but back then you had to buy a practice pad.
Yeah.
Which was like this little disc with a leather head
Right.
on it, and the 2 sticks, and for 4 lessons I went tink, and it just tink, and you just hit it, and I just hated it.
Yeah.
I hated it. So then I wanted a guitar, and I wanted to play bass actually. And which the irony of that is I'm a terrible bass player.
Huh.
Like I can't play bass.
Wow.
I just don't
That
think
surprises me.
that way.
Okay.
But I mean, I know how to do it, but I just don't sound like a bass player.
Yeah.
Down on the border of Orange County, and I took lessons in Richard Nixon's old law office.
Wow.
And they had the historical sign out front.
Yeah.
And I had this lady that taught me folk songs, and she changed the lyrics to all the songs, and I hated that also. So then I quit that, and then they had another teacher come in, a guy named Henry Valdez, and he was really good, and he got me fired up.
Wow.
Yeah. We did what they called sight to sound. He would just teach me something, show it to me. There was no music paper, no nothing.
Yeah.
And I'd have to memorize it in that half hour or 40 minutes and go home. And so the first song he taught me was Green River.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which was great. You know, I love that song. Yeah, and the lick, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right? And so that was cool. And I did that for maybe, I don't know, a year or so. And then in high school, I just basically played records and tried to, you know, take things off records.
Yeah.
And I went through all the phases we go through. But when I was 14, the lady that used to babysit me when I was a really young boy, she was George Harrison's basic manager in Los Angeles. She was the office manager for George Harrison.
Yeah.
And so she started sending me box of records every quarter. Every 90 days I get a box of records from Warner Brothers, Reprise. And so I started getting these albums called the Lost Leaders albums. And that's where they would put all their new artists on a double album. You get 2 songs by each artist, and you can see who's coming up in their roster. And I heard this guy, Ry Cooder, and I thought, wow, now this, because I was, at the time, I was like listening to Yes.
Yeah.
Which is literally 6,000 miles away from Ry Cooder.
Yeah.
And so I was going, and the Yes stuff was so hard.
Yeah.
You know, and
It's very busy and very complicated.
Yeah. And so the Ry Cooder thing, I listened to it and I thought, this is really cool because he couldn't sing. I mean, he wasn't a great singer.
Right.
He's gotten far better. But that guitar playing that was it. I was done. And that's what got me into, you know, like Greg Leitz and David Lindley, people like that, you know.
And Slide.
Yeah. And Greg Leitz was in a band called the Funky Kings, which
Jules Shear.
Jules Shear, exactly.
He was on our show.
Was he? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jules
He's
Shear,
great, yeah.
Tom, you know.
Oh, excuse me.
And, you know, it's just all these guys, yeah. And so, you know, I'm a big fan of Greg Leitz's, and you know, David Lindley and all that, and so that progressed through high school, and then when I came out here to go to college at Loyola Marymount, I majored in TV and film, but I also took all their music classes, and then I also, my sophomore year and junior year, I went to Dick Grove Music, which was here in Studio City, and I really learned theory and harmony.
Didn't Dick Grove become GIT?
No, those are polar opposites.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Dick Grove was a school for working musicians.
Oh, okay.
Not people that want to teach or
Right.
anything. It was for people who want to arrange, compose, play. And so I started in high school taking classes there on Saturdays.
Right.
When I was a senior. And I would drive out and like my parents were cool enough that they paid for these 6 lessons It was every Saturday for 6 weeks, and I would get a lesson from like Lee Ritenour.
Wow.
Or Tommy Tedesco.
Yeah.
Or a bunch of guys. Jimmy Weibel, who to this day is the guitar player that made my jaw drop.
Yeah.
Because he played the guitar like a piano.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing. So I got to do that stuff. And
so when did it up to this point it's all been guitar. When did like other instruments like mandolin and lap steel and some of these things start into the picture?
So when I was at Loyola, I got a job as an RA, which is kind of a manager of the dorms and the apartments. And at the beginning of the semester, when I first got the job, they give you a check for food and expenses for the semester. And I got a check for $500, and I went down to Bob Baxter's guitar shop in Venice, and I bought my first mandolin. And then I figured out how to eat later. But I started mandolin in college, and I fell in love with that, so I really focused on that for a while. It's all, for every person, it's a different process.
Yeah.
Some people, like at Loyola, I played 6 hours a day.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
For the first year and a half, maybe.
Now, I know now, fast forwarding again to the present time, in addition to a lot of the session work you do and a lot of the live work, backing up other, but you also do a lot of teaching.
I do.
Do you teach all levels? Do you still teach beginners, or are you
mostly intermediate and begin? Some beginning kids who I kind of know the family or something, and I love all of it. I'm really fortunate I've been doing on and off for about 30 years, and generally speaking, 95+% of my students are great. Occasionally you just bump heads with someone that you're not on the same wavelength with, and it doesn't work out.
I have had this experience, but I'll spare you.
So I get to teach a lot of people from different walks of life.
Yeah.
Some active musicians come and take lessons. Jeremy Horton, who forgive me, but I can't remember the name, the Eagle Rock Gospel Choir. Great guitar player. Yeah. He was good when he came to me, but he didn't understand what he was doing, and he wanted to understand why it was bad or why it was good.
Yeah.
And he was really cool. I've taught.
That's an important thing because I sometimes I fall into that same category, and I know I know a number of other musicians who are professional gigging musicians, and they're competent and they can play songs and stuff and do impressive stuff, but they don't always understand all the theory behind it, or sometimes they don't know what chords they're playing, and those are important holes to fill. So I love it, and I keep pretty busy. I keep it in the daytime so I can do sessions and other gigs at night and stuff. I have a couple of evening lessons, but it's fun, and I meet a lot of great people. And I've had some cool opportunities. I've taught some very famous guitar players' kids, which is interesting because the dad is world renowned, but it's hard to teach your own children sometimes. Right. It's like driving.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good analogy. Yeah. And so I've gotten to do a few, and I teach a lot of like corporate executives or high-end people that have fantastic jobs, but they would rather be a guitar player.
Well, let's get back to the music here for a little bit. I want to. There's a cover song that I want to try to squeeze in that you and I just took a look at. This is just, I'm just looking forward to this. I think it's going to be beautiful. And after this, I'll ask you to do something on your own.
Okay. All right.
But this is an old Jim Croce cover. This car, the number on the matchbook is old and faded. Living in LA with my best old ex-friend Ray, a guy she said she knew well and sometimes hated. Isn't that the way they say it goes? Let's forget all that. I can call just gave me. There's something in my eyes, you know it happens every time. I think about the love that I thought would save me. And isn't that the way they say it goes? Well, let's forget all that. Give me the number if you can find it, so I can call. Just tell them I'm finding the show. I've overcome the blow, learned to take it well. Only wish my words could just convince myself that it just wasn't real. That's not the way it feels. Well, let's forget about this call. There's no one there I really wanted to talk to. But thank you for your time. You've been so much more than kind. You can keep the dime. And isn't that the way they say it goes? Oh, let's forget all that. Give me the number if you can find it, so I can call. Just tell them I'm finding the show. I've overcome the blow, take it well. Only wish my words could just convince myself that it just wasn't real. But that's not the way it feels. Not the way it feels, operator. It's not the way it feels.
Cool. Actually, John, one of your students, Tom Browning, is watching.
Oh.
He said he'll never be very good, but, you know.
My old college roommate.
Wow.
Great guy. I had really good college roommates. So.
Where'd you go to college?
Loyola Marymount. Talk for a second while I get this into.
Okay. I will tell you that next Sunday, coming up right here on Sunday Morning Live with John M., our guest will be J.C. Hike, the host of the Songwriter's Serenade out in Arcadia at Matt Denny's Ale House. J.C. is a great country crooner, songwriter, and he gonna come by and sing a couple songs and tell us about some of what he does. He's also a voiceover actor and I believe an actual actor as well. So he's got a lot going on. And we have a bunch of really cool guests coming up in the weeks to follow. Toward the end of September, we have Marty Axelrod coming in, and a bunch of really cool folks. So we're looking forward to keeping this thing going. And excuse me. And as always, I want to thank those of you who tune in every week for liking and sharing this show and telling your friends about it, because we keep getting more people that way, and we like that part. Yes, dear.
And we do have our regular people, Jimmy Hunter,
hey Jimmy,
Angelina, Marilyn and
Gary. Hi, how you doing?
These are people that have been with us since the beginning, come back every week, and we love you.
And coming up in November, which is still a couple of months away, but we're starting to make plans for it already. we're going to have our very, very special 2-year anniversary show. The first year anniversary show was pretty special. We had a number of guests. We had Paul Zolo and Ed Tree and Jimmy Hunter and a bunch of folks, and we had a live audience. And we're gonna try to do something like that again this year for the 2-year, and we're gonna try and make it even more special. So that's coming up a little ways down the road.
Gonna have to get to a TV studio.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be put on the spot here. I'm going to do a little instrumental.
Yeah. John O. Kennedy, this is your life.
This is a song I wrote about 20 years ago, an instrumental that I promised I would never write, but no. It's called Ngoro Ngoro, and I wrote it the night I got to meet Dizzy Gillespie.
Wow.
And I got to.
And you wrote it that night.
I wrote it that night. It was.
Wow.
It just came out, and I wrote it for a record that I was producing back then, for an artist from San Francisco, Patty Weiss, a violinist, and we recorded it up in San Francisco. And,
cool.
It came out really good. She's no longer. I don't know if she still plays or not. We've lost touch, but I'm going to do kind of a encapsulated version of it.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Thanks.
John O. Kennedy, multi-instrumentalist, songwriter, producer, beautiful music maker. Yes, dear.
Caterer.
Caterer.
Say hi to Ronnie Cox.
Hey, Ronnie. Thanks for joining us, my friend. We need to get you on this show one of these days. Ronnie and I have talked about that. We're going to do it sooner or later. So, yet another instrument.
Yep.
This is the casual observer or musically uneducated person might look at this and think it's a lap steel, but it's actually...
It's a Hawaiian guitar.
Okay.
A Weisenborn. There are a lot of them made in the 20s. There are not as many around as there used to be. This is a style 4, and there's 4 kind of levels. Most of it is cosmetic when it gets higher, so they can charge more money.
Right.
But it's it was made in 1926, and it's made of koa wood, and it has a hollow neck. and that kind of affects the sound.
Yeah,
So it sounds pretty cool. Are we in tune? Let's play it. Yeah, okay. All right.
So this is the song on which we prove to you that John O'Kennedy can rock.
Pressure's on.
This is a song from my current album M6, and we played this with the band.
Yeah.
In that show that we referred to at the Fremont Theater, and on the record, this is a very electric song, very lots of crashing drums and stuff like that. But we're going to do an acoustic version of it that I think will be just as good, frankly. I enjoy playing it this way. This is O-Y-O. 1, 2, 3. But we're not winning. Oh, everyone is losing. Oh, wheels of war just keep on spinning. Every night the news sings. Why can't we see? Ain't no peace, no victory. No peace, just misery. Now in the name of 9/11, in the name of Jesus, tell lies and we believe them. This is how they lead us. Why can't we see? Ain't no real big mystery. Blind because we choose to be. Pray for rain, pray they don't all die in vain. I don't look now, but this ain't freedom. Those were not elections. If we cast votes, they don't read them. It don't pass inspection. So here we go, one more time. Take a number, stand in line. Seems to happen every time. Why can't we learn? Children die and buildings burn. Don't think it ain't your concern.
Love that.
You're a fun guy to play with.
Thank you. You too. It's great.
So I think that's going to do it for us this morning. Again, my thanks to all of you for joining us. I would love to, man. If we could, I always feel like we want to go on longer than we do. And Paul Zolo. I had a little while back. I had Paul Zolo on here, and he interviewed me because that's his thing.
Yeah,
he interviews people. So
it's great at that.
And he interviewed me, and it was a lot of fun. And we went for about 45 minutes, and at the end, and as soon as we got off, he was like, "Oh man, I wanted to ask you this, I wanted to ask you that." He said, "We got to do another one of these." We will. We're planning one coming up. But anyway, this has been a lot of fun for me. It's good getting back together with you. And
thank you, Hillary.
Oh, you're so welcome.
It's
Thanks
really
for
fun.
getting up and coming over.
Oh, sure. I wore my pajamas for you guys.
Yes, someone commented on your pants.
Oh, good. Good, was it? Who?
They liked them. Jimmy Hunter.
Oh, okay. All right. So, yeah.
So, okay. So, I'm sure a lot of your fans have been watching too. In fact, I know they have, because some of them responded to me earlier in the week and said, "Oh, you're going to have John O'Kennedy."
Cash will be in the mail soon.
So, and Bernie Bueller last night, he was at Julie's Joint. I knew I'd get it right. The Julie's Joint House concert last night with Deborah Davis and John Zipper, of course, and a great time was had. And Bernie walked up to me and he said, Bernie watches almost every Sunday.
That's great. I love him.
And he said, "Who's your guest tomorrow?" And I said, "John O'Kennedy." I went, "Wow."
He's so good. He's such a cool guy.
Yeah.
And that's one of the high points of doing this is there's these people in town that are such music fans.
Yeah.
And for him, I think I'm being fair. It's probably not easy for him to get up and go out to all these shows.
No, that's definitely true.
He's there. He's there at like 90% of these shows.
Yeah.
And that's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It means a lot. It means a lot.
Yeah, it does. There's other people too, but Bernie's a real. I mean, he's a hustler. He gets up and gets out, and I know sometimes he's not feeling up to it. But, But he does it. So.
And then there's the other side of the same coin. That the people who crow on and on about how much they love your music and they're going to come and see your next show, and they say that every time, and they never show up.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So,
hard to motivate people.
There's those two. But
It is. And
it takes twice as long to get anywhere.
I was just going to say, the traffic doesn't help any of us, no matter our level of talent or our whether our songs are good or not. If you got to play JC Hikes, I love playing JC Hikes.
It takes an hour to get there.
Last couple of times, take me almost 2 hours.
Wow.
Because traffic.
Yeah.
Well, if you're trying to get there at 7 or before 7,
right.
You're right in the middle.
I've left at 5 and I've gotten there at 5 to 7.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
But it's all worth it.
Well, thank you again for coming and doing this.
Thank you.
It's been fun. We got to do more playing together.
I would love it.
No doubt about
I would love it. Yeah.
And thanks to all of you for joining us, and thanks to Music Connection Magazine for their support, and for Hillary, who works for Music Connection Magazine, for her support with camera and prompting me and all the rest of it. And we will see you back here next Sunday with the aforementioned JC Hike. And until then, have a great week. Hillary, anything you want to say to anybody?
Yeah, thank you, John, so much for getting up early and coming over and playing.
You're welcome. It was really fun.
Really pleasure to have you. And everybody, have a great week. See you next week.
Bye-bye.